Hello everybody and welcome. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to create space in a 4-4-2 formation. And let's get started by talking about my favorite topic. When focusing on creating space in a 4-4-2 formation, we get a unique aspect that this formation has that others don't. This is a symmetrical formation, but if we look closer, we have a pair of strikers, a pair of midfielders, a pair of center backs, and a pair on each flank. This gives us a lot of opportunity for our tactic. If you choose a player role to do one thing, choose the opposite for their pair. So if you choose one flank role to stay wide, tell the other one to cut inside. If you have one midfielder pushing up, tell the other one to stay back. Because in addition to pairings, this formation excels at width and stretching the defense. By assigning each role a partner that does the opposite, you are giving yourself multiple options to attack the defense. In this example, my midfielder is on the ball attacking to the right. The natural width of the 4-4-2 gives us coverage nearly sideline to sideline. The opponent either has to mark the wide players, leaving space in the midfield, or they stay compact and leave space on the sides. Let's look at their fullback at the bottom. When my player on the wing makes a forward run, the fullback has to decide to either mark him, which creates space for my striker, or he has to leave my player and I get a player out in space anyway. He decides to mark my wing player and has too much distance to cover to try and get back. In the next section, let's start building our tactic. When choosing which strikers to use in your formation, you have a ton of options. Some good pairs are the deep lying forward and advanced forward, the complete forward and the target forward, and one of my favorites, two pressing forwards, with the defend duty being especially useful in a 4-4-2. But whatever you choose, my recommendation would be to start with one striker on support and one on attack. For this formation, I've gone with the false 9 and the poacher. The poacher stays up top, and the false 9 drops deep into the midfield, giving us opposite movement. In this example, we're on the ball in the midfield attacking to the right. The false 9 has no issue going out wide to find a pocket of space. Meanwhile, the poacher holds his position up top, and the two combine for the goal. In this one, we're once again on the ball. Note the positioning of the false 9 and the poacher and how they're even with each other. The poacher is going to get the ball and look to pass it quickly to the false 9. They don't like to be involved too much in the build-up. The defense will collapse on the false 9, leaving space in behind for the poacher. As we get into the flank roles, this is a good area to get at least one of the roles cutting in centrally. You can use the inverted winger, a wide midfielder with some player instructions, but we're going with the wide playmaker. The role fulfills two needs for our formation. He'll be a link for our transitional phases, and he can also be an outlet up top. The opponent is on the ball in our attacking midfield. The wide playmaker is going to win the ball back and pass it to our poacher, who's acting as an outlet. Once again, the poacher doesn't like to do anything crazy on the ball, so he'll wait for a simple pass. The wide playmaker will move into the half space, get that return pass, and score the goal. And take note of how effective the wide playmaker is on the flanks, away from that midfield congestion. On the other flank, we're using a defensive winger. Any type of winger excels in a 4-4-2, and I chose the defensive winger to help offset the wide playmaker on the other side. This winger will give us more of a defensive presence. The opponent's on the ball here on the wing at the bottom. We'll see how the defensive winger drops to defend like another fullback. And being one of the most underrated attacking roles, the defensive winger gives us that crossing threat from the flank, an important aspect of a 4-4-2. What's happening with these flank roles is we're getting opposite movements because the defensive winger is going to stay out wide, and the wide playmaker, funny enough, is going to cut centrally. This opposite movement gives us another element to make us more difficult to defend. And moving on, in the next section, let's talk about the midfield roles. Not to be overly dramatic, but the roles you choose for your midfield in a 4-4-2 will make or break your tactic. The reason is that you need a role providing cover and safety in your formation, especially to protect your center backs. Be very careful about what midfield roles you choose, because even something like a ball-winning midfielder will leave their position and have your team be exposed. I would choose one role strictly dedicated to defending and providing cover. The best roles for doing this would be the anchor and defensive midfielder on defend. And if you use a traditional 4-4-2, a central midfielder on defend. For the other midfield role, you can be more ambitious, because ideally, we'd get another scoring threat out of it. For this formation, I've chosen the anchor paired with the segundo volante. If you want more of a playmaker, the roaming playmaker is an excellent option as well. In this one, we'll see how the anchor defends. The opponent is attacking to the right. The anchor won't get pulled out of position from the defensive midfield, and he'll eventually make the tackle. And here, we'll see the benefit of placing the anchor next to the playmaker out on the wing. The anchor, if you can pardon the turn of phrase, will anchor the midfield and make the simple pass out to the wide playmaker, who then gets the poacher involved for a quick counterattack. The segundo volante is more aggressive in how they close down and provides a complement to the anchor. On the attack duty, the segundo volante will provide a scoring threat from the midfield, something very useful in a 4-4-2. Next, let's talk about the defensive back four. The defensive back line is made up of the wingback, central defender, libero, and inverted fullback. As a side note, I'm not specifically playing a counter-attacking system, which is why I've chosen the central defender. But if you are, the ball-playing defender and no-nonsense center back can fit nicely as well. I've chosen the wingback because he's going to provide our width as our wide playmaker moves centrally. Like in this example, we have the ball in the midfield. The wingback creates a natural overlap with the wide playmaker before getting the cross in for the goal. Those two can also combine for goals, again positioned away from the midfield congestion. And the libero will move into the midfield and sit alongside the anchor. This gives the segundo volante more freedom to push up since he has his teammate behind him. But even with all that movement from the backline, we're still using a back four. So in this example, we're on the ball out on the flank. We're going to lose possession, and you'll see the inverted fullback go out to cover the flank, his original position. The libero drops back into his original center back position, and the central defender holds his position as well. And this is our finished 4-4-2 with Santa Clara in the 2nd Division of Portugal. A good rule of thumb when making a tactic is 2 to 3 roles on attack, 3 on defend, and everyone else on support. In this one, we have 3 on attack, 3 on defend, and 4 on support. The only team instructions are the higher defensive line and lower block, which will make the team more compact when defending. I find these instructions beneficial when using a 4-4-2. For the highlight example, and this is a good one, we're going to watch the entire play, starting with my wide playmaker on the ball deep in our own half. As we wrap up the video, if you're curious about any of the player roles I've used in today's video, I have playlists that go over each role in Football Manager, as well as some different tactical ideas. And a friendly reminder that I've got a Patreon account if you'd like to support the channel. Anyway, that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.